This is the lattice method for multiplying. It's been around for thousands of years, been used in lots of other countries. So here's what I have. I'm starting with a square that just happens to be the same number of spaces that I have. Since I have a two-digit number times a two-digit number, I put two squares on the top and two squares on the side. So I'm going to put my 36 right there like that. The 3 is in my tens column and the 6 is in my ones. And I'm going to put the 2 and the 5 over here for the 25. Notice the tens column went above the ones column. So what we do now is just take this number and multiply it together like it's a times table. So right over here in this particular first square I got 3 times 2, which is 6. In this square I have 6 times 2, which is 12. Over here in the far left I have 5 times 3, which is 15. And 5 times 6, which is 30. All right, here comes the interesting part. We're going to split these squares in half, and you may have noticed I put the numbers a little bit farther away from each other than normal. We're going to take a diagonal right through that square. This diagonal should come all the way through the middle. This diagonal is going to come through here. Now, the numbers that we had on the outside, you do not want to use because we're not going to add them. This particular column is my ones column, and I'm adding it this way, going down, and I only have a 0, so I'm putting my 0 there in the ones column. This next diagonal going down is my tens, and I have a 2 plus a 3 plus a 5. That's 10, so I'm putting a 0 right here, and in my hundreds column, I'm going to add a 1 right there. So now I go to my hundreds column, my hundreds diagonal, I guess. 1 plus 6 is 7, plus 1 more is 8, plus 1 more is 9. And then when I go to check my thousands, I really don't have anything there, right? There wasn't a number there because that would have been 06. So really my answer then is just 900. Take a look at what we did again. Write one number horizontal, write one number vertical, split all of my squares into with diagonals, and make sure that your numbers, my ones and tens, are on one side of the diagonal each. Let's try another one. I know it's a little tricky at the beginning. So on this one, I'm going to go ahead and put my diagonals in first because I think that makes it easier. And then I'm going to start using my numbers. I've got 19 times 46. So 1 times 4 is 4. So it's really 0, 4. 9 times 4 is 36. 6 times 1 is just 6. And 9 times 6 is 54. Alright, I'm adding my ones column here. I just have a 4. I'm adding my tens. 6 plus 5 is 11, plus 6 more is 17. Put down my 7, carry a 1 in here. That is probably one of the most important things is on this one is that you want to carry your ones or twos or whatever you have at the bottom because it keeps you from being confused. 3 plus 4 is 7, plus 0 is 7, plus 1 more is 8. And there's nothing in the thousands again, so my answer this time is just 874. Let's try one more time. Get my diagonals in and get my numbers going. 52 times 83. Does not matter where I put the big one or the small one because we're still going to get the same answer. 5 times 8 in this first square on the top left is 40. 8 times 2 is 16. 3 times 5 is 15. 3 times 2 is 6. So I'm going to put it down to 0, 6. Start adding my columns. In the ones column, I just have a 6. By the way, there's only going to be one number ever in the ones column, right? There's not going to be anything to add. Sort of like when we've done it the other ways. Going to my 10, 6 plus 0 plus 5 is 11. Carry my 1. 1, 0, 1, 1. That gets me to 3. And 4 plus nothing is 4. Remember, I'm just kind of writing my answer this way. So I got 4, 3, 1, 6. Count back 1, 2, 3 spots for my comma. That is not really a decimal there. I accidentally touched the board. Let me get rid of that so you guys don't think that's what's going on. 4,316. Here's one for you to try out. Get your diagonals in there first. 76 times 45. 7 times 4 is 28. 6 times 4 is 24. 5 times 7, 35. 6 times 5, 30. And just start adding. I got 0. 4, 7, 12. Carry my 1. 10, 13, 14. Carry my 1. 2, 3. 3,420. This goes just about as fast as when you're doing the 2-digit times 2-digit Marco Polo, the algorithm that most people know. One more for you to try out. Get those diagonals in. 30 times 68. 3 times 6 is 18. 0 times 6 is 0, so I'm going to put 0, 0, because it just makes it easier for me when I'm adding columns. 3 times 8 is 24. 8 times 0, 0, 0. Start adding up my diagonals. My ones place, I got 0. My 10, 0 plus 0 plus 4. 100, 0, 8, 2, that gives me a 10. Put down my 0, carry my 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. And then I just start on my top left and roll it around. My answer is 2,040. Okay. What happens if I have a 3-digit times a 2-digit? Everything pretty much works the same, other than I'm going to have more columns. Big numbers going on top, 125. 37 here, and then we start. 1 times 3 is 3. 0, 3. 2 times 3 is 6. 5 times 3 is 15. 7 times 1 is 7. 7 times 2 is 14. And 7 times 5 is 35. And I start adding my diagonals. 5, 5, 8, 12. Carry my 1. 1, 7, 8, 15, 16. Carry my 1. 3, 4. Nothing to carry, and there's no number out front. 4,625. You know, I really thought it was going to be bigger than that when it was a 3-digit times 2-digit. We got that puny 1 there. Let's see what happens if we get a little bit bigger. There we go. 789 times 14. Get the diagonals in. 789 times 14. 7 times 1. 7. 8 times 1. 9 times 1. That row was pretty easy. 4 times 7, 28. 4 times 8, 32. 4 times 9, 36. Start adding my diagonals. 6, 9, 12, 14. Carry my 1. 8, 11, 19, 20. So I'm going to carry a 2. 7, 9, 11. Carry my 1. And I just have a 1 out there. 11,046. Here's one for you to try out. Remember, first step, get those diagonals in. 345 is my 3-digit number, so it has to go across the top. 27 is going down. And we start multiplying. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 5 is 10. 7 times 3, 21. 7 times 4, 28. 7 times 5, 35. And then I add up my diagonals. I got a 5. 3 8s, 11. Carry a 1. 9, 11, 12, 13. Carry a 1 again. 6, 8, 9. And there's nothing out there. 9,315. Last one, you try it out. Get my diagonals in. 913 on top. 62 coming down. Start multiplying. 6 times 9 is 54. 1 times 6 is 6. 3 times 6 is 18. 2 times 9, 18. 2 times 1 is just 2. 2 times 3 is 6. Start adding my diagonals up. 6, 8, 10. Carry my 1. 1, 7, 15, 16. Carry my 1. 4, 5, 6. Nothing to carry. And a 5. 56,606. This method, the lattice method, could be used for even larger numbers. If we went all the way to a 3-digit times 3-digit, 4-digit times 4-digit, the idea would still be the same. You would just be drawing your diagonals down through more numbers.